Sometimes a little change can make a big difference.
Corn to be spilling out.
Take this self-designed deal corn bagger, which allows Harrison Jenkins to save time.
This is a lot more accurate and a lot cleaner.
And more efficient.
Originally we were zip tying the bags, and that took too much time. Then I bought a sewing machine, and that's a lot nicer, and then we can stack it on pallets.
And therefore, make more money.
We'll have 1,000 bags of corn in the shop at a time, and they'll be gone in a day.
It's a family affair for Harrison Jenkins on Westward Farms in Stony Point.
And this used to all be land that Dad farmed when he was growing up.
The farm has been in the family since the early 1900s, when Harrison's great-grandfather started it. And now, farming has been handed down over the generations.
Okay.
Today, with Dad and son working in tandem, tending to the fields.
Ultimately, when you get all of this stuff set and have it figured out, does it make it quicker to do this or just more accurate?
More accurate. I mean, you can be quicker, and I can work into the night where before I couldn't see where I was. I mean, I've planted at night knowing that that's accurate where I'm going back and forth. And I mean, it does make it quicker because if you know where you are, there's less guesswork. Because sometimes whenever you're planting or drilling wheat or something, you can't see where you've been.
The Jenkins farm is similar to what you will find at many farms throughout North Carolina. A little bit of everything.
You'll see people call a sheep and a goat and a goat and a sheep.
Visitors can get up close and personal with many of the animals at the petting zoo of sorts.
You know, it's a lifestyle that they may not have ever experienced before.
Even adding a new animal that now calls Westward Farms home.
It's just something for people to see. It just adds value to the tourism operation when people want to come here.
Yeah, you can see it's still a work in progress.
And how about a wedding on the farm? A new wave of agritourism in our state.
I thought I was going to dairy farm the rest of my life, but then things change. You know, as it goes, you kind of go with the flow. Whenever you see the trends going different ways, you start following.
Son Harrison says that ability to adapt is a must.
What my grandpa did is not what my dad did, and what my dad did isn't necessarily what I'm doing right now or what we're going to be doing in the future. So it's constantly changing, just as the world's constantly changing. And you can't fight it, you just have to embrace it and work with it.
North Carolina has a tradition of farming. Back in 1860, there were 69,000 farms here in North Carolina. A vast majority were small farms. That's still true today.
We've got about 45,000 farms in North Carolina. Probably 80 to 85% would be classified as small farms because of the income level.
We caught up with North Carolina's Commissioner of Agriculture, Steve Troxler, at one of our state's research stations, an effort to bring our state farms into the future.
You see futuristic things that we could be doing. So we start that research on these research farms, and we make the mistakes first, we hope. By the time the technology or the crops are ready for the farmer, then they've been thoroughly vetted, and we've got a good idea that they can be successful.
And that idea of being ready for the future is something North Carolina knows about. Historically, we're a tobacco state, and tobacco is still king. But we also reign supreme in many other crops, from sweet potatoes to Christmas trees.
How about trout? Number 5 in trout in the nation.
Agriculture accounts for 17% of our state's workforce. And just because the number of farms is dwindling in the state, don't be fooled. It's still the leading industry.
Is this still a growing industry for North Carolina?
You know, I think a lot of people in North Carolina would like to believe that it's a dying industry, but it's a growth industry. When I first came into office, just using round figures, agriculture and agribusiness was about a $60 billion industry. Today, it's 92.7 and growing every year.
You know, what I'm proud of is our farmers in North Carolina are not afraid to try something new.
The North Carolina Farm Bureau advocates for farmers across the state. They point to the agility of our farmers, pivoting when new crops are needed and wanted. Sean Harding points to things like tobacco growers transitioning to hemp and the surge of vineyards in the Piedmont.
So one word, resilient. tough, and I guess that's resilient, smart. You know, these are the type of people that I deal with every day, and I'm really proud that I have opportunity to do that.
Gone are the days of mule-drawn tractors or hand milking of cows.
So I'm just making sure that everything, the seed sensors are all set up.
The family farm is now tech-savvy and much more efficient.
Dad, come make sure, I want to make sure this is right, okay?
Each one feeding around 155 people.
Slow down some, Harrison.
But a new struggle already lays ahead. The fight to keep their land and keep the farms flourishing.
You know, as the population continues to grow, we have to become more efficient because they're not making more farmland, they're making more housing developments. So as more people come into the world, we have to feed them. Just being the most efficient, making the highest yields on the least amount of land we can.